my name is Claudia Garcia Rojas, and I'm here with Gozamos at the New Yorker Hotel for the Latin Alternative Music Conference with Ximena Sarin. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about your self-debut titled album. Tell me a little bit about how it differs from your first one.
Well, first of all, it's all in English. Yeah, the first record was all in Spanish, and this one was mostly English songs. It definitely had a more electronic sound to it. I wanted to explore a little bit, playing more instruments and sort of starting writing songs like based on the production. Not just piano and voice, but adding production elements from the very, very start of each song. And it's definitely a faster album, faster paced. There was a lot of like really fast songs, and it was definitely an experiment.
Okay. And what is sort of like the music and writing process for you, particularly for your self-titled album?
Well, like I said, we started doing a lot of production from the very get-go, even before the song was finished or before the songs had lyrics. We already had like a beat going and maybe like a synth part that was going to be part of the song, and it was very. It was very different, because in Mediocre, all the songs that I did were just really more piano and voice, and we had like the whole song, and then we went into the studio and produced it. No, here was definitely more of a production album.
Okay, is there one album that you have enjoyed more than the other in terms of its production?
No, I mean, I think both experiences are very different, and both experiences are unique. I mean, my first record I did all in Buenos Aires in Argentina,
okay,
and the second record I did it all in LA, and they were different people that I worked with, and it's always like a journey, and I like that. I like going somewhere, traveling somewhere to do the record.
Okay, if there's one thing that you can say that you've learned off of making this new album, what do you think that would be?
Well, I learned a lot about myself, a lot about of the industry here in the States, and especially, I mean, I learned a lot about to trust myself more. It gave me a lot of confidence. I've been touring a lot more as an indie artist, and I got to experience that side of touring where you're in a van and you're hauling your own gear and just playing by yourself, and that was quite the experience sort of too. I became my own musical director, and that was also a learning. I learned a lot, especially of being kind of independent.
Okay, I really like Echo Park. It's like one of my favorite songs.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about the production for the video. Did you have, because I know you're an indie artist, you're independent, and you have a lot to say creatively. Did you have a lot to say creatively in regards to the music video itself?
I did, yeah. I mean, I just contacted some friends from back in Mexico, and I told them, I want a fun video. I want something that's colorful. I want, I want to showcase that, sort of like the fun part of the song. Mm-hmm. And they came up with the story and sort of like the concept of being in a bowling alley, and they just, because we didn't really have any budget to do it, so they just called, we called a bunch of friends that we had in common, and Carla Morrison was there, and Mood Fu was there, and Amanditita was there, and like all these amazing like Latin artists that we've I've come across and become friends with over the years, and we just had a good time and came up with this concept, and just did it in like 5 hours or something. It was fun.
Nice. It sounds like you all hang out together. Is that true?
It is true, yeah. I mean, not as much as we probably wish we could, because everybody's touring like crazy and you barely have time to hang out, but I really like the honesty, and that I really love how we're all, it's just a different industry now, I think, and now if you're an artist, you try and be friends with other artists, and you try and help each other out, and sometimes you end up helping the artist to artist help is more important or more relevant than the help that you get from a label, the help that you get from a booking agent, and I like that sort of camaraderie that's happened.
So where do you guys hang out when you're in Mexico?
Well, it depends. I like hanging out all over the place. I like being home too, be with my family and stuff. But these kinds of events are always great because you get to meet a lot of new people and see artists that you're friends with that you don't get a chance to see.
Right. Where is home right now?
Home right now is LA. I've been living in LA for the past year, and
Okay.
it's a great place.
Nice. I also wanted to ask you, going back to the fact that your second album is in English. I know a lot of stars like Shakira or Paulina Rubio started singing in Spanish and then they sort of ventured into English. Do you think that you foresee yourself following a similar trajectory?
I don't know. I mean, our music is very different. I
It
think
is, yeah.
Shakira and or Paulina Rubio, and I mean, I would love to do what they did in terms of industry wise speaking. I mean, they were
Yeah.
able to branch out their music, and they're themselves. You know, it's Shakira is her. I mean, and she can sing in English and sing in Spanish back and forth, and it's fine. You know, and it works for her. I wish I could do the same thing eventually. You know, and because I feel that there's a huge bridge there between I mean, we're right next to each other, and there's a huge
Okay.
Latin community in the States, and you know, it's just it's a very I think they're two of the most important cultures, and we live in a globalized world, so
Right.
might as well, you know, sort of bridge the gap.
Yeah. And do you feel that you have a lot of support insofar as like what you want to do creatively as an independent artist?
I do. I mean, I am not strictly independent because I belong to Warner Brothers, so
Right.
you know that's not independent in a
Right.
strict sense of speaking. But they've been very, very supportive in terms of what I want to do. They believe in me
Okay.
as an artist. They push me to become a better artist, and they sort of, you know, everything is. It's a team that you're working with, you know, and that team, you know, as a team, you have to come up with with discussions, and you have to take opinions and give your own opinions, you know, and sometimes you'll agree, sometimes you won't agree, but you're in the end you're a team, and you both want the same thing.
Right. I also want to ask you where you sort of see yourself moving musically, like in the next 5 years.
I don't know. I mean, I think anything can happen right
Yeah.
now. I mean, I'm in a process of writing a new record, and you know, I find myself going back to basics, going back again to piano and voice.
Nice.
But I also find myself being more active in my production, or knowing more what I want, and that's also great.
Wonderful. And what do you do on your time off?
I don't have a time off. No,
What do you do
I
when
mean,
you're
no,
when
I
you're not
like-
touring,
Well,
interviewing?
I love spending times in cities, and
Okay.
you know, I have a lot of time. I have a lot of friends here in New York, and I'm gonna, you know, now that I'm writing, come here and hang
Yeah.
out and be able to write here. I love being home. I love experimenting with cooking, with instruments, with anything. You know, anything
Yeah.
that I can do. I love visiting my family and taking vacations, and you know, I want to be constantly inspired by everything that I'm doing.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with Gozamos.
Thank you.
Where can people learn more about your music?
Well, you can go to my webpage. My webpage is XimenaMusic.com. Ximena with an X. It's a crazy spelling.
Okay. Yeah, I think I probably misspelled your name at the beginning.
It's okay.
Ximena. The English version.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.